Gavin, is there any way you can speak up a little bit, or maybe a microphone closer to your mouth?
How's that?
Oh, that's much better.
There we go.
Nice. Need to hear your witty banter.
Nah, it's all right.
The strong silent type. Gavin's the mime of the show.
Yeah,
Don't wake the baby.
audio-free podcasts.
It's
Just
very
all
vogue.
it's just all implied. Just think of it what you will.
What's it about? What do you think it's about?
Whatever you want it to be about.
Sicko?
It's your rainbow. Paint it whatever you want.
Oh, nice. Is that enough of a cold open, Jeff?
I think that works. I think he just ripped it.
I think that's going to be the win.
That's
It's like,
perfect.
is that a cold open? Yes. Do 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 do.
Perfect.
All right, let's get this rolling. The, the adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep, and it is time for New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have an 11-month-old.
My name is Gavin. I have a 9-month-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Beautiful. 1 month away from being a year. That's terrifying.
Wow. You can just finally say a year instead of 12 months. Or you can be that person.
I don't know. Jeez, I don't know. Like, I think it was like 5 episodes ago we ranted about that for hours. Hate. Oh, he's a 48-month-old. He's my darling.
Yeah.
Wait, but you now have a year birthday coming up. You must be
That's
planning that
planning.
like right now. Like like yesterday.
Are you positioning for an invitation or
That's a big one. Yeah, I got a lot of junk to give you. I mean, new stuff.
a lot of bite marks in this, Jeff?
I get this old iPhone case that you could have.
Yeah, sweet. Pre-chewed, so you know it's good. Yeah, see, man, I don't know about the. I'll get into a bit of, I guess, what we're trying. I don't know what we want to do. I mean, I guess like
That's a
it's just
start.
funny because you see some because it's like a cake and it's a whole party and you invite other babies. It's like none of the babies get it. Like it's just Thursday, you know. Like they don't understand what's going on. So that part's all for the parents. I'm trying to
All
imagine
of
like
it's
what on
for
earth
the
to do.
parents, with the exception of the baby getting to try cake for the first time. The whole thing's for the parents and for the other family members, the extended family and stuff like that.
Exactly. Like, but just think of it. Like, this is what your pivotal moment. You look back on your kid's first birthday. What does the cake look like? Is it a robot? Is it is it a jellyfish? These are important decisions that you have to make. What is your kid dressed in?
They'll haunt you forever.
This is it. This is what your kid's gonna remember you by.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that to me, Dad?
So we had we had when we were down in Colombia, we had Adrian's baptism, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally just connecting the dots now, but I just realized the cake it was like a wine cake, so it was alcoholic.
He was asleep like that. I don't understand it.
He loved it, but yeah, I think we're obviously do something. I think it's likely going to be more just immediate family. I don't think we're going to do a kid party because again, there's no kid gets any benefit from it, and in fact, if anything, it's a burden on the parents because it's not like you.
I don't think the babies at that age really have friend recognition yet built in, like the familiarity. Like to them, all babies are kind of like there's really only a few
Competition.
human beings. Yeah, exactly. There's only a few human beings that they've like actually had connections with that there's been that imprinting. But like it's not until they're a little bit older that they start to recognize other people. They are in a way, but like they're not going to look back on it. It's like, why didn't you invite Steven? It's like they're not going to remember that. It's going to be like, I don't remember any of this. 'Cause they're
Look.
not-
So
Look, my lad
just
does.
to set it though, we had about like I think 15 babies over with their parents. We had a tent set up in the backyard to house said babies. So they had shade, had a barbecue. The house was running full of people. So I don't know what you're gonna do.
So you try to set a bar? Because I'll tell you, it's not working. That
Dude,
is
I
the
had
second craziest thing
I
that's
was
come out of your
little.
mouth since I just took the diapers off my baby. That's
That is
I,
honestly more effort than we put into our our rehearsal dinner for our
yeah,
wedding.
yeah, for your
Like,
wedding, yeah. That's what
or
it was.
even like the engagement party. Like our engagement party was less of a of an event. Yeah, but that's the thing
15.
though.
15 babies.
Yeah,
Well,
but
The
yeah.
daycare
they're
doesn't have
different sort of
15.
things. Yeah.
Well, it was like a mommy group that
I
we
think
kind of
that's the
hung
factor
around with.
too. It was more the
Yeah.
camaraderie with the other parents. Like that's the thing is it's for the adults. Like it's for the adults to celebrate. This baby's a year. This is great. Like the babies are just along for the ride, whether there's one or a dozen. Um,
Yeah.
like they're gonna have a good day regardless. They're babies. Every day's awesome.
Just put them in a
Um,
pit.
but it's more for it's for the parents and the families and stuff to be able to celebrate and whether it's an intimate thing or a full to the brim house with spillover tent, you know, like whatever's gonna get the job done and everybody's gonna have a happy time and that's all that really matters. you know I just lead
Spillover
the
tent.
petting zoo to
Yeah.
you
So,
Spillover diaper genie.
so I mean,
hey,
is there going to be drama if I don't invite you guys to my kid's first birthday?
What?
Podcast
We're
drama.
not invited? We'll join you via Google Hangout.
Nice. We'll
yeah,
do a
I'll
live
witness from
podcast.
here.
just duct
Yeah.
tape an iPad to a Roomba and I'll be there.
Yeah, you said that about my wedding too, Gavin, and you didn't
Yep.
show up.
I didn't have the batteries.
Oh,
So, so hold on. Let's I could care less to beat this topic to death, but I do now want to know. So, Jeff, that your tent of 15 baby disaster was for the
now I
first.
say 15. I'm like my memory. Maybe it's 10, but it's in that
Maybe
ballpark.
it's two.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just
Maybe
my
no,
kids.
maybe it was just me.
So, what
But
did you do for the?
yes,
What did you do for the next one? Like, did you?
that died off. Like I'm sorry. The second kid syndrome. It
Yeah.
totally happens, and you swear that you'll never do it. I was firstborn and my brother, obviously, secondborn, and he's always said, stuff isn't the same for him. And I've always, like, when we have our second kid, we won't do that. I'll do the same things all the time. Like, firstborn gets this, secondborn, you'll get the same thing. We tried to do that. We're just exhausted with two months, and it just doesn't work. So we did something different, but it wasn't, a tent full of babies out in the back. Out in the back 50. No, I don't have that many yards. Um, but no, it was, I don't know. The first birthday party was a big one to us.
Yeah. So you're
But
just asking the other parents. It's like, so this is we did it right now. It's easy. It's all
then it's
just
done.
coast.
That's it. We got the photos to prove it. We're good. Or just Photoshop them. Whatever.
Well, I think at the end of the day too is it's like as you said, like you have the photos. It's like you're doing it for memories. You're not really like it's not really there to satisfy any other need other than
No.
to mark a really important memory. But um,
But it was
yeah,
kind of set up like a
I do
wedding.
hear of some families though that do get like carried away, and like
Yeah.
I mean like you know not a baby tent carried away, but like
Not
carried
that crazy.
away. Um, so yeah, I think like I know with us we're like we've already started planning it, and by we it's the uh my wife has started planning it and she's doing a great job. Um, but no, it's no, we've been talking about it and it's I think like we have a game plan, but it's also proportionate to what we're capable of hosting. Our apartment's not huge, so we can only have so many people. We're gonna kind of have like a rolling guest list in a way, like, hey, if you want to come for the morning or whatnot. There might be some other kids here. Don't know. If there are, great. If the parents just want to leave them with grandma and grandpa, that's fine too. Um, but yeah, I think with like but ours still also has like some fun stuff. Like we've got a theme picked out, and like we're gonna do the cake in a particular theme with that. And,
You could
you
see
know,
Trevor's eyes just getting wider, just like, oh God.
just thinking of the burden. I've always kind of wondered too with because the money shot, like the photo everybody wants. I think there's a couple kid photos that everybody wants. One is where the dad is dressed up like a girl drinking tea with his daughter. Like that's a classic dad photo.
yeah, I
Right.
know what you told me about that one.
You kidding? Like seeing the dad sitting
Get
at a
on
little
board.
table with a little teacup and a tiara or something. It's super cute. It's
Yeah. No, no, I think I know what you're talking about. Just that sort of like, yeah, I'll play whatever game you want to play today. It's all
exactly.
right. Let's
So
do
that's one
make
of the
believe.
classics. The other classic is when the kid dumps like spaghetti on his head. Like ah ha
Yeah,
ha ha, look at this. That's a
yeah,
classic. And I
spaghetti
think the
hair.
other classic is when the kid inevitably like just shoves cake all over his face.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
And there's
yeah.
some part of me that imagines like there's a super neat kid who just very quietly like feeds it into his mouth, and the parents are like, "Come on, this
You just smash it into the.
He doesn't
stupid
like
kid, you're not
cake.
ruining my day."
Yeah.
Just like
Off camera too, you're just throwing cake at him.
memories, damn it, baby. Dad, my only memory is I'm terrified of cake. I don't know what else
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Smell of chocolate makes me scared. I don't know why.
Makes me break down in tears.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, as far as the week goes, how was it in fatherhood and gaming?
Fatherhood's good. Baby's on the move, so that's exciting.
Nice.
Uh, she's uh, she's discovered mobility, and she's getting fast, and she's starting to understand things that like curiosities, like oh, the doggy has his food over here, and things like that. So a lot of scoop, reposition, reset, set a distraction toy at the other end of the hall, and let her do her thing. But yeah, no, it's pretty exciting. She's loving the whole like the exploration factor of being able to crawl and just like I can go over there. And now she's kind of like taking toys and kind of knocking them around and pushing them around so then she can go like hunt it down. And basically my baby's playing fetch with herself. But hey,
Yeah, I was about to say.
Perfect.
whatever floats your boat, baby. Whatever makes you happy.
Just need a treadmill with like a dangling
Yeah,
toy,
yeah,
like a carrot.
yeah,
Wear yourself out.
yeah.
Go for it.
But no, she's doing well. She's a couple teeth coming in, so that's always you know
Oh,
it's not too bad. Like she's very receptive to the whole frozen face cloth trick, so that's been working well. Um, it's what my mom did for me. It's what we did for our dog. It's a remarkably good trick.
I'd
Um,
be careful with that logic because there's probably limits to.
there
We
there
used it
there
with my
are a few.
dog.
well, there's
Yeah,
fetch. We got fetch going too, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
sensing a theme.
yeah, exactly. No, it's going well. As for gaming, it's been relatively light. I've been trying out Killzone Shadowfall a little bit here and there. My PS4, I have a feeling needs a good cleaning. It's getting a wee bit on the hairdryer volume level, so um, I got to. It's off warranty now, so there's not much I can do in regards to sending it back to Sony. Yeah, fair enough. They got a policy. They got a policy. Uh, but that means that I don't have to worry about those little stickers on the back saying you're going to avoid something. Like, you can't avoid what doesn't
cut them open.
exist.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting on a screwdriver I need. There's a certain bit that I just don't have one small enough. I have the size just too big. So as soon as I get that bit, I'm gonna crack into her and clean her out and see if that works. And failing that, then it means that I just need a new fan and probably some fresh thermal paste. And that's something I'm not doing. So I'll just take it to the shop. There's a shop in my neighborhood that quoted me a decent price, so I'll take it in, let them do that work. But as far as just cleaning out dust, I can do that. But I've kind of been not gaming a whole bunch until I get that thing resolved because right now it's kind of like it's getting really loud and really warm, and I don't want to burn it out, you know. And
Yeah.
we have a stove for frying eggs. I don't need the PS4 for that, so I'm just gonna let it freeze. But I've been keeping an eye on a few other games that are coming out soon. Or not coming out soon, but just ones that I've been hearing things about. Um, wow, that was very Canadian. Um,
A boot.
Boot. Okay, the team who originally made Burnout, the really awesome racing game which you just
Mhm.
shove people into the guardrails, they're making a golf game.
What? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, yeah, I just
Go
heard about
on.
it. before the podcast. It looks like it's gonna be for the PS4. I imagine other things as well. Uh, it's called Dangerous Golf, because why not?
Sure,
And
sure.
Golf, the most
basically,
dangerous game of all.
yeah, it's a golf ball, and it's in like a room full of very fragile objects, like stacked bottles of champagne and like wine goblets and stuff, all on like rickety old wooden tables. And like the demo I saw was just this physics demo, but it's all about you hit the golf ball and you have to bounce it around this area and do as much property damage as possible, and then you put it into the hole, and whatever damage you can cause while remaining under par, like that's your score. So it looks
Simple
like a
enough.
blast. It looks like
Yeah.
all the parts of Burnout I really liked, which was like causing those big pile-up accidents. But instead of the guilt of causing like vehicular manslaughter, it's golf and broken glass. So no one's hurt. But yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. And there's another one. The name of the game is slipping me right now because I just found out about it. But there's another space shooter coming down the pipe that looks really fun, and it's like a roguelike as well, but one that kind of allows you to build up. So kind of like a game like Rogue Legacy where you play it, but even if you die and you have to start over, there is some carryover, like some progression. Um, and yeah, it looks pretty interesting. It looks beautiful. The development team worked on a space shooter for mobile that was really good apparently, and this one's looking really slick. It looks like a very fun, just like mouse keyboard apparently is the best way to control it. Very similar to the old game I used to love called Freelancer.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. So there's some new little titles coming out on the sides that I'm like, hey, you're refreshing. You're not an open world first person shooter. This is nice. Okay, let's try this.
Yeah, so it's
But yeah,
so it's spring, a time for renewal, a time for fresh, simple games.
yeah,
That's the so yeah. So I hope that I hope that golf one. As soon as like you heard about it was Burnout, they're doing a golf game. You instantly think it's going to be a full AAA title, and that's like
yeah,
a $60
Yeah.
purchase. Hope that's not the case because that sounds certainly like a lot of fun. That doesn't sound like something you'd get years and years of. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't sound like it'd be deep enough for. It sounds akin to like I Am Toast, honestly,
yeah,
where it's like
yeah. I
certainly
think it,
fun, but just like
Or
you're not gonna.
Burnout Crash. They had that Crash game on iPad where
yeah,
you just kind of flick the car into
yeah.
Uh,
carnage.
I have a feeling it's going to be more along those lines in the sense of like this is just something fun that we wanted to do. Uh, I could see it being a little bit more budget priced. They even did I think it was called Bullet Count. Oh wait, no, Bullet Count was another. Oh wait, was it them? I think it was them. And they also made another shooter a while back too. Like they diverged away from just doing car games. Um, but they've done some more economically priced releases in the last few that they've done. So I doubt we're going to see like Star Wars Battlefront kind of price points on it. I think it's going to be a little bit more modest, a little bit more within the realm of reason. Um, because I think that's the other thing going forward as well is that it's a little bit more of a casual game. It's like I just want to break stuff. That's it. I just want to break
yeah,
stuff.
certainly sounds dad sessionable, so that could
Yeah.
be a fun one to pick up.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And the other one too, with it being sort of like a roguelike, it's like, yeah, see how far I can get, and when I die, I'm done. And it's probably gonna be relatively quick. So, that was like with FTL. I found that one was
Oh
good.
yeah.
You could play it for a bit, and then it's like, well, like even if you're to beat the game, you would probably be able to beat it in maybe a 2 hour sitting. Um, but you're not going to. So,
I never beat it. It's
you know,
impossible. Well, I wouldn't say impossible, but holy.
Yeah,
I
it's
got to like the last sector and had
Near
to
the
deal
end,
with like a couple of yeah, like I got to the last I got to the end of this map thing, but then I died.
I remember like it was yesterday, just my crew running around suffocating and like fires breaking out everywhere. I'm like, this
Yeah,
is it. I'm going down with the ship. That's
yeah,
it. I thought
yeah,
this was my winning run, but
yeah. But nope.
no,
Oh,
that was a lot.
I might have to crack into that one later. That
Yeah.
was a really fun game. Just that whole like, it's just They should do like a fatherhood edition where it's that game, but there's just a baby running around, like starting
Oh
fires and
God.
opening
Oh
doors.
God.
Open the airlock, get it out. Just
So
Yeah. You
the alien
lose, but you
baby.
kind of win.
Yeah.
it's like look who's talking, but with like space travel. It's like your crew just has to get this baby from one end of the galaxy to the other without it jettisoning itself into the vacuum of space.
Yeah. You don't even have any enemies. It's just a baby desperately trying to
Just,
hurt it.
it's just a self-destructive crew. Yeah, yeah. It's like the USS Daycare. There's just like a dozen babies and one Captain Picard running around.
We should probably keep a running list of all the game ideas that we come
I
up
think so
with.
too. These
Yeah.
are great. These are gems.
We should at least, at the very least, like, copyright after each session.
Just say TM at the end of every single one. I think that covers it.
Yeah.
As is my understanding of law.
USS Daycare TM.
Did you guys ever? Sorry, just you mentioned the cooking the PS4. Did you ever cook your Xbox 360 with the Red Ring of Death?
Yeah, I got one, but was still under warranty, so I was able to send it in. They sent me a new one, or a
'Cause-
refurbished one, or whatnot.
Because one thing that, and it worked for me like 3 or 4 times, but one thing you would do, it'd red ring, but then you wrap it in 4 or 5 blankets.
That
So
sounds
so the thing would
awful.
so the thing would massively overheat because the problem was like there was as far as I understood, like, there's some sort of chip that wasn't melding properly, and there's a soldering. So if you
Yeah.
heated it up enough, it would melt
it
the
back.
soldering and reconnect it. So literally 4 or 5 times, I had this thing wrapped up in like towels, like massive amounts of towels. It would terribly overheat, then proceed to like redo the soldering. So I was able to play it again for like a couple weeks.
Did you feel bad? Like it would be like watching someone die in front of you. You're like, I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta wrap you up. This is for your own good.
Gotta do it.
It's overheating.
It's just surgery. It's fine.
Yeah.
Comes out freshly baked. I got at least a week worth of
Like-
gaming on it.
It's like forcing like a little computer friend through rehab. You just sweat it out, buddy. It's gonna be all
It's gonna
right.
be
Just sweat it out.
It's shaking underneath. Please no.
Please, no. It's like it's all right. Just one more blanket. I don't want another blanket. One more blanket.
So Jeff, yourself, a week in fatherhood and gaming.
I had a little bit of both of the same. Fatherhood and gaming with Tearaway. So I bought Tearaway on the flash sale, and my eldest son started playing it, and I actually witnessed that he can navigate a 3D platformer, which I didn't think he could do yet.
Ooh.
So it was like a hurrah moment. So he was going through that, and with that game, it's kind of cool because I can kind of not parent along with him, but I can kind of join in the game. So you can have a smartphone and draw like little construction items and like actually shoot them into the game, and then they come in on screen. So it's kind of cool that way. You could take pictures and put them on, and the textures change like instantly. So it was neat to do that, like little interaction with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's going along in the game, having a blast, and I'm just shooting stupid pictures and drawing whatever I can draw. Like his name on flags that would appear, and then like butterflies, you can change the colors and stuff, and all the grass can change with the
That's
textures.
really cool.
So it was really
So
neat
is it just
to.
like a companion app that you install and?
Not even that. It's just like a second screen with your PlayStation 4.
Oh,
So you just go into the PlayStation app, or you could. I think they have a website too that's dedicated to it, and then you can do it on an iPad or a smartphone. It's way better on the tablet, and you just
Yeah.
draw and cut and paste, and then send it in. It's really neat.
I was
So
really curious about that game, but I didn't know about the second screen interaction
Yeah,
thing. So that's
yeah.
something to keep.
That is amazing.
cool.
Like
It's
that's
really
got to be one
cool.
of the best like parent-child interactions for a game I've ever heard. Because you could totally customize it based on him if he likes
And on
colors
the
or
fly
shapes.
too. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like Little Big Planet where you got to sit and make a level and have them wait while you construct it.
right, while you perfect
know.
it, right?
Dad, it's been
But
12
instead it's like
hours.
it's in real time, where it's like, you're not having your kid. Can I play yet? It's like, no, I'm not yet. I gotta this one right.
Just hold on. No, it was a really cool little experience with him.
Awesome.
And then he could customize his character too, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
he got into that screen, it's one of the levels is like it's like a winter level, and so I had to design a snowflake, what the snowflakes would look like in the level. So I did that while he drew mittens, because your character didn't have mittens, and one of the little guys in games like, oh, you're going to be cold, you better draw mittens. So he was drawing his mittens, and then the little character had mittens running around, and then my snowflakes would appear on screen. It was so cool. It was a
That's really
really
cool.
interesting game. So highly recommend it for like a father, son, or daughter kind of game.
Yeah.
When they're at that level, because it gets really hard later in the game. like
It
the
turns into Dark
difficulty.
Souls real fast.
Like the difficulty pick just kind of ramps up. It's like, okay, no, you can't just jump on enemies anymore. You have to like, one of the things is like the touch screen is like your wind movement, so you have to swipe it. And he was kind of getting the hang of swiping the wind in the game to unravel paths that you could walk across.
Hmm.
But some of the enemies, when they jumped, you had to win them off the cliff. So he couldn't get the timing down, and he was just getting a little bit frustrated. So I had to kind of step in for a little bit, let Daddy take care of this, and
Yeah.
I'll get you through this part. But it was a good experience for him. He wants to go back and play it, and like there's no deaths or anything. You just kind of you fall down and you come back. There's no like continues or game overs, so it's a really good like learning experience for him, right? So
Hmm.
it's really really neat one to do. And again, flash sale, so it was like $8.
Yeah, that flash sale that happened the other week was I got I picked up Killzone because I'm like I really liked any of the screenshots I saw. I was like, ooh, that architecture design's cool. Like I was just
Yeah.
looking at basically the industrial design that they did for the like levels, like just the
Yeah.
environments were really interesting. So I was looking at it more of like I just want to traverse the environments and see these cool sort of like, oh, I never thought of like a ladder extending like that, and like just
Yeah.
I always love sci-fi architecture, especially industrial stuff. It always fascinates me. So I got it for that, and I also picked up Valiant Hearts, that
Oh, yeah.
World War One kind of narrative adventure. I haven't cracked into it yet, but I'm really curious. But yeah, that sale was really good.
Yeah. Surprise.
Tearaway was one of the ones I was like, ooh, I might get that. But
It'll go on sale again. Or be part of Plus, knowing my luck. It'll just be part of your PlayStation Plus next week.
yeah,
But otherwise, it was good. Good experience.
nice.
How about you, Trevor?
Yeah, so we had another great flight. Like I couldn't believe it. It's
Oh, you didn't use up your plane karma or anything?
yes,
2 for
'cause-
2, eh?
because we had that's 4 for 4 because we
Oh.
flew in country to the
Oh my
coast at
God.
one point. Yeah, now that was only an hour flight. So, but even those again, he behaved great. So we're coming up to the return flight home, 6 hours, and it's like okay, it has gone real well so far. I don't. What's the chances it goes 4 for 4? But of the times he was the most fussy, but within reasonable baby amounts.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh, okay. And best part too is that the people in the immediate area, one was a father of a couple, another was a grandmother. So it's great to have people who've been there, and just it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Nice.
don't worry, we have them. Don't worry.
Yeah. Anybody within glaring distance,
Yeah.
if they could have some form of empathy for you, then that's usually like, because you know somebody who's at the end of the plane, even if your baby did nothing but just one tiny little fart, they would get in a huff about it. Because some people just have zero
it was the
patience
baby that
for-
did that, by the definitely the baby.
Yeah. You did just spend a fair amount of time eating food you're not used to, but that's all right. The baby did it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, this baby's gassy. Jeez, ooh,
Wow.
poor baby.
Yeah.
But it
But
it was
no,
fabulous. Like it
That's good.
went so well, and so happy for that. I think so. I think generally he tends to travel well. He certainly has a lot of movement. Like he always wants to be moving.
Yeah.
So that tends to be a little bit tricky. I think anytime we can plan the flight for his normal sleep hours, he tends to knock off pretty easily. Like the last quarter of the flight was for during his like sleep hours, so he just popped off, and that wasn't an issue at all. So
Nice.
Nice.
so that was great. So we're back in the homeland. Tim Hortons is wonderful, and it's kind of good to have. It's definitely great to have all of his amenities back, as far as like his like blending his food and his bottles, like just access to everything
Yeah.
that we kind of get accustomed to in dealing with him.
But I gotta say, it's very interesting to hear you being like, "I'm so happy to be back at Tim's," where you just left
Yeah.
a country that literally farms coffee.
4 Tims.
Touche.
I've been to the coffee fields in Colombia before on a previous trip, and like picked beans, like just the whole 9 yards. And somehow I'm sure it's just a Canadian nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Like it's lit, and in many ways too. Like if you compare it, like it's probably closer to brown water than it is to coffee. Like in many ways.
Yeah.
but it's our brown water, and there's just something about the taste that works so well. So the yes, it was fabulous altogether. Like just such a great trip, and for him to see his grandparents,
Hmm.
that was just such a stunning experience. Met his aunt down there as well. Like it's just so wonderful. I think we've couldn't have asked for a better trip ultimately, and that I'm really
Wow.
happy about. There's kind of
Yes.
disaster scenarios that run through your mind in
Yeah.
planning for this trip. So
Or even just with like just visiting people in general, you're always a little bit worried, like, is it gonna go over well and stuff? But then when you add like, you know, uh, 6 hours of air travel each way, that's when the worries kind of get, uh, you know, exponentially worse. Um, Even just because of the distance. Like it's not the parameters or the people. It's just like, oh, we gotta travel all this way. I really hope it goes well. It's like
Yeah.
your hopes for it going well are greater than just like a simple, we gotta drive down the highway, but you know,
No, like 6 hours on a plane, I'd be worried about a blowout. You know what I mean? Like that's all you need is just crap up your back and
oh,
it's done. Like that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, I mean, we had like I think we had a good like I think we had like four backups just in case, like just
yeah,
Just
terribly
garbage
over
bag.
prepped, like because it's not so much. It's just the other horror stories you hear, and even for food, like we probably had about 2 days worth of food packed. But it's the scenario where you hear they landed, there was an issue, and they had to spend like 6 hours on the runway.
Oh
yeah,
God.
I'll say, I'll say if you ever try to convince, I don't know why you'd be trying to convince, but let's say if you ever want to try to convince somebody to have babies, just have them see the priority lines at airports. And I know we covered it last time, but like, God, is it not amazing? Because we saved at least getting onto the plane, we saved an hour. Easy. Like
mhm,
us having a kid was the only way we got onto this plane. Like we were a little bit late. So
yeah,
like just blew past everybody. And then on the way in, I'm in line, and there's no priority line, so no baby line in coming into Toronto, but there was a special line with nobody in it for connections. And bold parents in front of me with two kids asked the woman, "It's like, hey, we have some babies. Can I just use that line?" The woman's like, "Yeah, okay, just go ahead." And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Okay, so what kind of person am I?
You're
Am
just
I
taking advantage, that's all.
am I gonna go ahead and just like dodge like the 100 other people in front of me?" And
Yes.
the answer was yes.
Yes. Of course you will. Every
Am I?
single time.
It's like,
hmm,
am I gonna lean more towards being honest or more towards being on time? And I was very much on time.
yeah.
So,
Well, there's also the factor too of like a new set of rules were established, and you met those
Yeah.
parameters.
You just well, and having babies has other perks too. So if you're ever in a restaurant, you're trying to get, out of there and get the bill, just have your kids cry a little bit and you're going to be served like that. Any lineup, man. Kids are crying, they'll get you in. They'll get you in, get you out.
yeah, I imagine that would be in many ways it's benefit for everybody. I'm sure there's a little bit of screw that guy for scripting the line, but it's like, listen, the kid is quiet now. I can't guarantee that's going to last.
Yeah,
If you want crying baby behind you for an hour, go right ahead.
roll those dice.
Yeah, you a gambling man? Are you a gambling man? So,
Just show the cute baby face, kind of like Puss in Boots and Shrek. Just like you wouldn't say no to this, and just
Yeah,
then if they do, you just wake them up and have them cry. It's like, all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
are you
there
gonna
you
say
go.
no to this?
Perfect.
yeah.
Send them through.
Like
Right this way,
I
sir.
had this situation contained, but
Yeah,
that could change.
It might change.
like living dangerously. Come on.
Yeah. Do
Just
you
a
still want to
threat.
give me attitude, sir, or may I proceed with my day?
So it was yeah, so just fabulous. The grand adventure went well. I think we have some cautious optimism and confidence around him traveling. He
Yeah,
tends to. It seems like he handles everything well, as is his nature. So we'll
nice.
stay tuned for the next trip, I suppose. On the gaming front, actually, I was remiss in mentioning last week. So it's been the same games. Um, so I guess to get out of the way first, I still have not beaten Street Fighter 3 because the end boss is a jerk. It's not fair. He's got one move that literally takes off 60% of your health. And
Challenge.
and I'm not kidding you guys. I can feel myself getting better. I can
Oh,
place things. I can like I'm getting in a couple combos, and I even won a round against him, which was like had never happened previously. So
career defining.
there's that progress, but there's this one move he does, and it takes you down 60%. It's classic old school boss BS, where it's where if you don't hit the block just properly, you lose all your life. You're just dead. It's basically insta kill, and like I'll be winning like a particular round, and he does it, and you're dead, and it's just like there's no skill to it. It's super frustrating. Still haven't beat it. Still haven't beat it. I'm home now. I'm curious now how it translates into Street Fighter V. If if this training has in fact helped me, or perhaps ruined me, because for instance, like there's no in this version you can block while jumping.
Okay, yeah,
In
yeah.
in
You
the new version, you
can't.
can't.
You can't.
You cannot. There is no blocking in the air. So have
Well,
I now trained my thumbs to try
yes,
to
you
block?
have. You're
to block?
screwed now. It's
We're doomed.
So
not gonna work. It's
So we'll see how that goes. I'm curious to pick it up. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm very curious to pick up Street Fighter V now, having spent better part of 3 weeks at 3. Ineptly spent 3 hours at 3. But I think what I was remiss in mentioning last week, so I continued on playing Final Fantasy X as well. A great moment happened where there's one scene where she's in one of the castles and she's singing. One of the main characters hears her singing. He goes up to see her, and there's a CG animation that played. Seeing the lead up to it triggered my memory that scene was coming up, and at the time I didn't have headphones, so I actually stopped playing because I wanted to hear the scene.
Oh wow.
Because the
There
song,
you go.
it's a
Ooh.
pretty song. It's a nice scene. It's like I don't want to experience this without music, so I just stopped playing for the day until I could get somewhere with headphones. But what I was remiss in mentioning previously is that it's really perfect for dads, like this mobile version of it, because at any point if you just leave, like, and I mean any point, and I've tested it a bunch, like boss battle, any map view, dialogues, anything. If you leave the game and then reopen it, like you get right back into that point.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
So
just
like,
perfectly bookmarks it.
That's so dangerous though. Can
what?
you like? Because I've tried it with Final Fantasy VII on iPad, right? And like if I open two apps, the memory's flushed, and I open Final Fantasy VII again, it's like, oh. But then you can save at any time, right? So it's not like you need a save point. You can just save through
Not
like
sure. So,
whatever the
so
save
this one
states are.
you can't save any time, but I've actually had I've had it closed down because like I lost I didn't have enough memory to run it. But when I did load it back up, it brought me right back to that minute that I
Oh
had
wow.
jumped out, and reliably. Like I've done it. Like I literally tested it at the beginning because I wanted to know. I didn't want to
Yeah.
get into a very tense scenario and then find out the hard way. So it's like, yeah, it's stunning to me. Like it's fantastic for some like an RPG fan like myself, where this is probably the most or the best suited method for me to play these type of games out of anything. Because just as far as it's always with me, I can do it in bite-sized chunks. It's always continue like it. I can jump out at any point for any reason. So it's been stunning that way. It's been really great for RPG fans who are also dads with like limited times. Like,
Nice.
and which also got me thinking even of Street Fighter, where
You can't do it on a cell phone there, Trevor.
yeah, I know,
Street Fighter.
definitely not.
Not
But
gonna work.
just the fights in general. So you do have, unfortunately, when you are in a match, you do have like, the matches are not going to last longer than like 1 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes being absurdly long for a match, but then it's over and you're done. So if something's set on fire, you can at worst you're letting it burn for like a minute.
Hold on, I'll get with you in a
Okay,
second.
almost there. I'm busy losing. I'll lose any minute, and I've lost. Okay, now we're good. So that too, I think it's just a format that works well for fatherhood in that sense. So two discoveries as far as good games that work for dads. We will see.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see your progress in Street Fighter V because I saw there was another flash sale on that game, and I was like, should I jump in and just see what I can do,
The
like ahead of
problem,
you? Just
So we couldn't even, I don't think we can, I don't know if they have crossplay working yet.
No, they don't. But if I could rank up in the PS4 world, and then I'll see you in the championships wherever they have them,
Oh yeah.
and we can
That's
do
probably
the,
like, you
the
show up and
dance
you're
and-
like, yeah, I got into gold elite. It was pretty easy.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can block while you jump. I don't get it.
Next, geez, I'm trying to think. Maybe they do have crossplay going on it.
I don't know.
Next week, Jeff will be like, "Oh yeah, and as far as fatherhood goes, yeah, my son tried out Street Fighter, and he's so much better than you."
No, you can already do all the moves. It's kind of weird.
He's beaten it like 4 times.
Like a genius.
It's a low barrier to entry. I'm telling you, it's just so much research and training at the beginning. The one thing, and the one I was reading,
An awful lot like work.
yes,
Yeah, it is. Because it's like frame counting, right? Like when the animation starts, you're supposed to be able to time it
yeah,
to
just,
block and stuff. Like people are insane with that game.
I frame count all day for work. I don't want to do it for fun.
so like I said, it has been enjoyable, like the training of it, like the matches and everything else, like still is holding me in. So it's definitely not like, oh God, I hate this. I don't want to have to practice anymore.
Right.
It has been fun and enjoyable, and they've done some great things where you can accept requests for matches. So you'll be in the training room or in one of the other modes, like just the offline modes, and literally a request will come in. It's like, hey, this guy wants to fight you. Do you want to do it? And you can turn that off too, like if you just don't want them.
It's like public school all over again. You're like, I don't want to fight
So,
you.
But as far as like the problem is, like for ranked matches, like they're pretty, like they're working pretty hard to have it so that you're fighting somebody like kind of within your range, so you can either go up or down,
Yeah.
but that tends to take time, so it can be anywhere between like like 10 seconds or even like 4 or 5 minutes before you can actually find a proper ranked match. But what they've done is that so you can just turn that on and then just go off, practice, like do solo mode, offline mode, and then when that shows up, you can agree to like hop in it and play. So they've done some nice respect things for time that way. But we'll see. We'll see. It's
so you can always schedule it for like 3:30 behind the climbers.
Yeah.
If recess isn't
If you
you know,
don't
good for
accept,
you.
then you get like messages of just hate. Just what are you doing?
yeah, bullying.
Chicken, chicken.
You start losing PlayStation friends or like online friends, just like they start dropping off. No, yeah, we'll see.
Stick with it. It's
Just gonna
a
keep
it's a
going.
good progress.
I'm so curious about what we talked about last week with the offline, like actually going to a meetup where there's other people playing it. Man, I'm telling you though, if I show up and I'm like, I have 15 years on everybody, it's gonna be a bad scene. Like, I'm just like,
Then you can go back and fight them for real.
yeah, let's just physically beat them up. Like, I beat you, yeah. Give me your
No,
lunch money.
you should do it. You should do it. I think you should go to one of those meetups, record it, come back
Oh,
here,
jeez.
show the
Christ.
footage of who you're reversing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch me just get annihilated. We could just like segment it
better.
into this video. And here's Trevor losing again to a 12-year-old. To Jeff's 5-year-old. Repeat.
I'll train him now. I'll start him.
Yeah.
Please
do it.
don't. That's like one more rank I won't be able to climb, so please don't. Oh, so gentlemen, I think that would tie it up nicely
Nice.
for this week's episode. Everyone, thanks once again for listening. If you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, please reach out to us at our website at newdadgaming.com. We do this podcast weekly. You can find us on the iTunes Store and I believe the Google Podcast Store now. But generally speaking, anywhere where fine podcasts are served up. And as always, the newdadgaming.com is your central resource for all things New Dad and gaming. As an aside, have you guys noticed that, like, I have to carefully pronounce that because I've realized lately that New Dad Gaming, if pronounced too quickly, sounds like Nude Dad Gaming.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I tried to get on your case about it last week, but I think I made fun of you about something else instead.
Mobular.
This is-
Mobular.
yeah,
That was
it.
Mobular.
Oh, New Dad
Yeah.
Gaming.
Yeah, 'cause I was like, wow, that sounded a lot like we're naked dads playing video games.
You know what? That's another TM. TM.
That's TM.
another TM. And just that's another opportunity for braver
Sure.
men.
Yeah,
It's a
Nude
late
Dad
night show.
Gaming found like you can subscribe to it on your mobular device.
Yeah. Shows at 3 a.m. Let's go.
So folks, newdadgaming.com. Find us on iTunes and other podcasting services. As always, we thank you for listening. My name is Trevor, and I have an 11-month-old.
My name is Gavin. I have a 9-month-old and pants.
My name's Jeff. I'm fully clothed. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Not sure about Trevor.
There is
Yeah,
no
we don't
way
know
to
about
verify
Trevor.
that with either of you.
Thank you, audience, for not panning down on Trevor.
You might not have pants.
If we reach a certain subscription number, maybe we'll see. That's how the internet works.
Really?
That's how prostitution
I
works.
don't think I signed on for that.
That's what the man at the Street Fighter convention told me. Is that not?
Hold on, there's a reflection in your glasses. Hold on. Nope.
Oh,
You're good.
Yeah.
All right, good.
All right, gents. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Later.